What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Haulin Bass TV. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Today, as y'all already know, we are going over my top 3 early winter baits to put more fish in your boat this winter. Let's roll that sick intro and get right into this video. Y'all, so you know early winter, it's starting to get tough out there on the water. It's getting colder. It's not nearly as enjoyable to be out on the water, or at least it's not nearly as comfortable. But they're pushing out of the backs of those creeks, starting to head out to their wintering holes and a little bit deeper water. So the first bait that I have is a jerkbait. I actually really like Rapala jerkbaits and Megabass jerkbaits. They seem to work the best for what I do, and I prefer a jerkbait that is either completely stationary in the water where it doesn't move up or down when you stop it, or it's very slowly sinking. This is actually Shadow Rap Shad 9 by Rapala. The biggest thing that I do with these is I throw them across points and I jerk them. And this time of year, with the fish being a touch more lethargic once it gets down into high 40s or low 50s, is you got to get that pause just a little bit longer than what you would in the fall, spring, or summertime when you're throwing a jerkbait. This is another one. This is the Ripstop 9 by Rapala. And this thing is something that I use when it's really windy, the sun's out, and those fish have pushed up a little bit shallower onto those rocky banks and points. These are really good to throw around that area, especially around bridges when those fish are suspended on those pilings and they're looking up to feed. Jerkbaits will get you bit every time. So keeping with the moving baits, we're gonna move on to a swim bait. This is actually the Mega Swammer by X Zone. This is one of my favorite baits to throw through brush piles. Out off those deep points, there'll be brush piles that people will put out there that you've found. I like throwing these big swim baits through there because when fish are more lethargic, you either have to go really big or really small, because it's an easy meal if it's really small, and it's worth chasing down if it's really big for those bass. So this 6-inch Mega Swammer by X Zone is pretty large. It's not massive by any means. Most 12-inch fish could eat something this size, to be honest. However, it will catch you the biggest fish down there in that brush pile. Another way that I use those swim baits is on points or out deep. It's just a good way to cover a ton of water while trying to search for those fish, because those fish in the summer, they'll break up into schools, but those schools could be 4, 5, 6 fish. In the winter, they really group up, so it's really hard to find those fish in the winter. But when you do, normally you can get bit all day and tear those fish to pieces. The other one that I use, this is actually a Rage Tail Swimmer. It's very similar to a TIK, and then the X Zone Swammer are the 3 that I use. I prefer the X Zone Swammer mainly because there's not a lot of people throwing it, and it does have a quite erratic action. It rolls a lot compared to the Rage Tail and the TIK. I really like the X Zone Swammer. When you get really deep into winter, they're not the best because they are extremely erratic. However, that's just when I switch over to a TIK or a Rage Tail Swimmer, and we're back in business. The final one that we have for today is a jig. Hold up right there. I know I interrupted the video. However, there are a ton of you guys that are watching my videos that aren't subscribed. Just take 5 seconds, go down there, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content. It don't cost you nothing. It don't hurt you nothing. Go do that for me, thank you. Merry Christmas. This is a little baby finesse jig. And as I said earlier, there's two ways that you can go in the winter. You either want to go really small or you want to go really big. And with these finesse jigs, you can crawl these along the bottom out near deep points, brush piles, wherever it is. The jig is normally my last thing that I go to because it takes so much longer to cover water when I'm trying to find fish than it does with a jerkbait or a swim bait. So I try to stick my jig for once I find those fish, then I can pick them apart with that jig. So since we have the finesse jig, I showed you that. It's just a little round head ball jig. Nothing real fancy. I also throw these absolutely monstrous football headed mop jigs. And I throw a big old trailer on the back of it. And I'll drag these through brush piles, mainly around the edges of the brush piles. I'll throw them across rocky points. Any offshore structure that I find, I throw those on there. I move it very slowly. I'm just picking it up real slow and counting every single rock that I hit down there. That is one of my favorite ways to fish once I actually find them. And it's not, this is actually the living rubber or the round rubber on there. This is the old school. You don't have too many color options with this, but I normally stick to a really simple color. It's either green pumpkin or brown. It doesn't really bother me which one it is. Black and blue, and that's about it when I'm crawling them on the bottom. I will occasionally throw a white jig down there because it does look like a dying shad down there feeding. This is the flat rubber or the silicone rubber. It is quite more colorful and catches your eye a lot better. However, in my opinion, it's not really that big of a difference. I do like the 50-50 sometimes because that living rubber sits there and flares while the silicone rubber just puffs out and it kind of stays there underneath the water, and the living rubber will sit there and move like a crawfish slowly crawling across the bottom. So that's my top 3 early winter time baits. It's a jig, a swim bait, and a jerk bait. Those 3 are very good at getting me bit and putting fish in the boat when I really need to. And if you really need to put fish in the boat, my last video on Ned rigs, that'll get it done too. It's just not the most fun to fish sometimes. Thank you guys for watching it today. It has been an absolutely awesome year. I still have videos coming out, but I just wanted to thank all the subscribers out there. Everybody watching these videos, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to sit down and take in my content. It means a ton. And next year, I promise, this channel is going to blow up. Thank you guys for watching. If you want a sneak peek, head on over to Haulin Bass TV. If you want some merch, we got new hats in with the green mesh on the back of it. Head on over to Haulin Bass TV on Instagram. DM me over there. Make sure you hit me up over there so that you guys can get your hats and I can get them in the mail over to you guys before Christmas. Get it for a friend. Who knows? They might become a Haulin Bass TV family member soon. Go catch your PB for me.
Spartans! What is your profession?